Day, the New York Stock Exchange closing bell ringing right now after a 3.5-point drop off. The Dow finishing below 586 after going as low as below 1,000 points at one point early this morning. Several attempts at a late day comeback, but they started dropping again within the last few minutes. And again, the Dow Jones Industrial Average now down 3.5, 586.13. The Nasdaq and S&P made similar falls today. This sell-off, which of course began last week on fears of what's happening in China. Let's go to Sue Herrera at CNBC to put it in perspective. What have we been watching in the last few minutes here, Sue?
We've been watching a lot of selling pressure that was built up in the market. They kept testing the market this afternoon, trying to see whether or not they could find a bottom in stocks, and they did not succeed. We finished off the lows. As you mentioned, Lester, we gapped down or moved down about 1,000 points on the open, the biggest intraday drop in the Dow Jones Industrial Average ever. Then we came back, and it looked like we were going to be steady through the day, but there are still a lot of worries about global growth. The European markets sold off, and there's indications that there will be some pressure and selling in Asia as well tonight. So it isn't over yet. The volatility is still there, but I think it is good that we finished off of the lows of the trading session. They're just the traders out there, the institutions, the big banks are trying to figure out whether or not we're actually forming a bottom in this market and whether they should step in and buy.
Anybody watching the sell-off Friday might think, well, this is a problem for the big boys. Now we've seen what happened today. Going forward, for those who have money in the market, their retirement, their 401k nest egg, how concerned should they be about what's going to happen over the next week?
I think the next couple of weeks are going to be volatile. It's that time of year. And I think you should check with your investment advisor, take a look at your plan, and make sure you can handle the volatility that lies ahead.
We've heard a lot about the word correction. Has this market been artificially overheated, and this is simply a correction?
It is a correction. We haven't had a 10% correction in a couple of years, and normally we would get one of those every single year. So we are way overdue for that type of a correction, and that's healthy in a market. You want to see a 10% correction, and then the bull market might be able to resume. Sue
Herrera from CNBC, thanks very much. Again, the Dow Jones Industrial Average finishing at down 586, off over 3.5%. We will, of course, have full coverage on today's events and also looking forward, what may happen in the future, why this is happening, and certainly how it's going to affect you. And we see you a bit later for the NBC Nightly News. For now, I'm Lester Holt, NBC News, New York.